This is how we know and love corals, surrounded by playful fish and of course underwater. But corals are not always underwater. Occasionally, due to the tides, they emerge from the ocean. How can they even survive this?
I am here in Dauin on Negros Island in the Philippines, and today I will not do a tech dive and will actually show you something which is happening in the very shallows. So because of the moon phases we have a very low tide, and you can see that some of the corals are actually exposed to the air. So healthy corals in this, if it's the type of coral, the species which grows in these very shallow areas, actually can survive exposure to air for minutes to fractions of an hour as a part of their natural cycle. So let's look at some corals.
Okay, now here I'm using something which I call the poor man's drone, which is a 1.73 meter tall man. That's not very tall, and a 2.5 meter long selfie stick. And if you put your GoPro on a wide angle view, you get a pretty good top view if you combine these things. Now you can see very well how in the shallows here in Dauin, these foliose corals particularly are completely exposed. So this is really a trade-off. They are very close to the water surface under normal conditions, and hence they maximize the light they get, but during these particularly low tides, which only happen every couple of weeks of course, then they are exposed to the air. So you see a few massive corals here as well, but mostly it's these foliose corals which dominate the above the waterline coral reef. I also saw a crown of thorn starfish, which of course is a coral predator, but in my opinion there was no outbreak. This was a single starfish which I saw. So here you have one of these massive corals. Now how are they dealing with that? So it seems that this protein here, which is the heat shock protein 70, the figure is from Wikipedia, is massively overexpressed while the corals are out of the water. So there are a few studies both in hard and in soft corals. I'm lumping these now, which is probably not completely correct, but I think the lessons hold for corals in general. So when the corals emerge because of these low tides from the water, they start making this heat shock protein, aptly named, and what it does, it refolds proteins in the polyps of the corals which had been misfolded as a consequence of the excessive radiation and of the excessive heat which these corals are facing when they're out of the water. On top of that, they're reducing their oxygen metabolism. There's another enzyme called peroxidase which is involved in the metabolism of this reactive oxygen species, and that's reduced. So essentially they're making it easier for their organisms to refold damaged proteins, and they're producing less of these dangerous reactive oxygen species. So the metabolism of these corals, which you see here again, totally exposed to air, for almost an hour during this low tidal cycle, the metabolism fundamentally changes, and when they are underwater again, it changes back. So excellent evolutionary adaptation, of course, to this type of environmental fluctuation. As usual, I hope you found this interesting. Please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and check back next week. Thank you.